Well, it's all over with. It's closed. No more January transfer window. No more transfer rumours. No more spurious rumours in the media. It is all done and dusted. I think one thing that it does prove is that the media know very little about the running of our club and who we are actually interested in, with obviously the Lawrence Shankland rumours proving to be absolute non-starter. Well, the transfer window has ended, and I think a lot of fans are. It's a difficult one. It's a really difficult one. Coming back in for that last night, just listening to the different podcasts, reading social media, there's a very mixed feeling amongst the fan base. I think that is the best way to put it. There are fans who are content with the transfer window, happy, and obviously trust Philippe Clement and Niels Koppen. There are fans who trust Philippe Clement and Niels Koppen, but are not happy about the fact that we have not signed a striker. And there are fans that are absolutely raging at everybody about absolutely everything. I think there is a real mixture amongst the fan base in terms of what is going on with the club. Now, look, I'll get to my opinion on the transfer window and the board, as I said I would in all the videos that we produced over this transfer window. In terms of making a judgment on the board, making a judgment on this window as well. But we'll start off with the positive news. So I said the positive news yesterday, which was rather bizarre that it took so long. Considering that we looked on. What night was it? On the 31st of January, really, wasn't it? That the deal for Cortez had been largely done. It was reported in the morning by Andy Newport and the Daily Record, and also a number of other sources that the deal was done. Heart and Hand and Four Lads had reported the day before that it was done. Yet this deal was kind of delayed. And I've got to say, I sat most of the day waiting, refreshing Twitter. Refreshing Rangers website, looking at the news, hoping that something would be announced, pretty quickly. But it seemed to be dragged out. I think it was pretty much a very clever ploy by the club, knowing that there would be no further arrivals. It was quite a clever one, I think, to use the fact that the Cortez deal to kind of deflect away from the whole fact that we weren't going to bring in a striker. Very interesting indeed. So look, that's what it is. So Cortez was unveiled. He is a Colombian under 23 international. Certainly someone who is very impressive, a winger, also an attacking midfielder, can play a number of positions. A boy with a fantastic backstory, a guy who came up through some very difficult circumstances in his home village, played for Millonarios, that did so well for Millonarios back in Colombia that he got his move to Europe to Racing Club Lens. Again, he's made 4 appearances this season in League 1, and they've decided that they're happy for him to leave and come to Rangers. Now, the move is a loan with an option to buy. That is the thing. It is not an obligation to buy. And I'm going to explain the difference in this video between the difference of what is an option to buy and what is obligation to buy, and why clubs are using this. I will explain that to you in the video in a short while. Cortez, like I said, is a winger. He's quick, he's exciting, he's skillful. He was the top scorer in the South American Youth Championships, the Under-20s Youth Championships. He's played in the Copa de Libertadores, which is the South American version of the Champions League. So, certainly a player that comes with a very, very good background. So certainly someone who's promising, exciting, and I think someone who will get Rangers fans off their seats with his dribbling and his talent. Very excited to see how he works out. Be interested to see if he is available to play on Saturday. If all the international clearance is through, and I think the most possibly we'll see him is on the bench. I don't think we'll see him start at this stage. We all know that Philippe Clement is not one for rushing players into the team. Now, what did Cortez have to say about his move from Racing Club Lens to Rangers? He said, "I'm very honoured and privileged to be signing for Rangers." It's a good start, Oscar. I've heard a lot about the history and tradition of Rangers. I've had positive conversations with the manager, who said I can help the team reach their goals this season. I am really excited to join up with my teammates, hopefully exciting the fans with my style of play. I think that is very much the hope, that the way that this young man plays, the fact that he will go at people, that he will take people on, that he will excite the fans and get us off our seats. Billy Clement also made a comment as regards the arrival of Oscar Cortes. Clement, it said, when asked by the media, he said the following. He said, "I'm really delighted to add Oscar to our squad. Our discussions have been really positive, and I believe he will be a big asset to the squad as we fight across 3 fronts for the remainder of the season." So Philippe is quite clearly targeting the Scottish Cup, the League, and the Europa League, and hoping to do a fantastic job in all of those competitions. He said Oscar is really enthusiastic about our aims and our ambitions as a team, and his skill set will provide a welcome competition to our forward line. So it sounds obviously like he will not be just destined to go straight into the first team. He will obviously have to fight for a place with the likes of McCausland, Matondo, Wright, and so on and so forth. Niels Koppen also spoke about this arrival. Now, as we all know, Niels Koppen is our director of football recruitment, and many feel that obviously he has been largely behind this change in ethos, this change in recruitment strategy that has gone on at the club. That now we're looking for these different types of players. And this is what Koppen had to say about the signing of Oscar Cortes. He said, "Oscar's been on our radar for a long time and was one of the best performers at the South American Under-20 Championship. He quickly became an important player for Millonarios in the Copa Libertadores and made them move to Europe. Through good contacts, further analysis, and our belief in his talent, we are pleased to seize this moment to sign him. With his pace, goal threat, and technical level, he will give us more options on the wing. Working with our manager, we believe he can take his development to the next level." He will, of course, wear the number 16 shirt. That is the shirt that he was unveiled in. Certainly very interesting comments from Niels Koppen there. The fact, again, it's clear that they've used data, they've used analysis, they've done as much as they can to ensure the player they are bringing in is of the highest standard. So look, it's a great move. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely superb move to bring in Oscar Cortes. He looks a very talented, very exciting player. Someone I think that will have an effect for the team. And there's quite clearly been a desire to bring in a winger. I think, even Michael Beale spoke, didn't he, at the start of the season about the fact we didn't really replace Ryan Kent. We needed to replace him. We've gone out and got this winger now. So we now have a winger. Now, I think, look, we look at the window and you look at the arrivals in this window, 3 players in. It looks obviously like Adam Devine has left and gone out to Motherwell on loan. But look, I don't think we've cleared anywhere near enough players out. I think that's more a job for the summer. I don't think that was ever going to happen in this window. Apparently as well, Ridvan Yilmaz, a bid for him that came in, another bid came in from Galatasaray. That was rejected. The Turkish window doesn't close until the 9th of February, but Philippe Clement has made it very clear that he will not allow any players to leave who are not then replaced. And obviously with the transfer window now closed, Ridvan Yilmaz obviously will not be able to replace her. Ridvan will be here till at least the end of the season. It's obviously a shame that we couldn't sign Hefte. It means we're stuck with Borna onto the end of the season. It's a shame we couldn't move Borna on and get some money for him. I really hope the board don't go down the route that was rumoured of giving the man a new deal. He certainly does not deserve a new contract. Hopefully he will be shipped out in the summer. So look, the other deals that were done, obviously, is bringing in, which seems like a donkey's year ago, doesn't it now? Mohamed Diamande, certainly someone who was coming with, with great promise, great talent, someone who can play all across the midfield. He's primarily a 10 or a winger. That's where he's played most of his time for Norgesland. And again, I think there's a real kind of dynamism about this lad. He is exceptionally highly rated in Denmark, exceptionally highly rated by Norgesland. One of the most promising up-and-coming players was looked at apparently by Feyenoord and Ajax, who were both interested in securing Diamande's services. For obviously, he decided to come to Rangers. He does seem a very exciting talent, someone I think can make a real difference in this team. It'd be interesting to see how Philippe Clement uses him. What does he use him in the 10 role? Does he use him out wide? How is he going to use him over these coming weeks? It may be that, we're seeing him being out injured. We perhaps see him from the left. It may be that, he's a replacement long-term for Cantwell, who's been poor this season. I think realistically, he's not going to play as the 2 in front of the back 4. I think, that role will be split between Lawrence, Lundstrom, Raskin, and Sterling going forward for the rest of this season now, obviously providing all of them stay fit and don't get injured. So, look, it is going to be interesting. Now, there is a difference between the deals for Cortes and Diamande. The Diamande deal is a £4.3 million deal with an obligation to buy, whereas the Oscar Cortes deal is a deal where it is an option to buy. Now, What's the difference between an obligation to buy and an option to buy? Now, an obligation to buy is a way of getting around FFP, a way of kind of not splurging all your cash in one go. It's kind of a way of delaying the payments and paying by installments. Now, there will be an initial loan fee have been outlaid for the player, which then will come off the total of 4.3 million. So if Rangers were to pay a 1.5 million pound loan fee, that would then be subtracted from the 4.3 million, leaving Rangers a balance to pay. Rangers will then pay that balance over the coming months, off season, start of the season, and the transfer payment is spread out over time, meaning that obviously it helps us come down inside of FFP. But it does mean that we are paying for him. It's just kind of like taking a loan, I guess, and paying the loan back, except there's no money actually given to you. You're taking your own money, and actually that's a bad example. A lease, maybe, you're paying over a certain amount of time, except at the end of this lease, you will own the player rather than obviously your lease. You tend to hand back the object that you are leasing. So yeah, that's the situation. Now, an option to buy is very much the fact that when Cortez, at the end of this deal, we have the option there to purchase him, to buy him. But we don't have to take that option if it decides that Cortez is not for us. If it decides that Cortez does not play well, does not impress, does not adapt to Scottish football, then at the end of the day, we can, of course, say, no, thank you. Here you go, Lons. Have your player back. We're not interested in buying it. However, it could also be that we could be, depending on the terms of the contract, as we see with these options to buy with the Malik Tillman example from last season, there was a real, I don't know, there was a kind of how Tillman was kind of an option to buy, but then Bayern Munich kind of ripped that up. Yes, they paid us a compensation of a million plus 10% of any future transfer fee, and then we didn't get him. Now, it could be if Cortez impresses, plays really, really well, that Lons decide that they're going to get more money for him by selling him and may pay us a compensation fee out of any future transfer fee. I don't know. It will very much depend on what happens at the end of this season and how Cortez performs. Now, let's get to the big question, the big debate that's come on now after this window has closed. Now, we all sat, didn't we, on January the 1st, and I think every single Rangers fan, bar a couple, agreed that the big need for this team, the massive need for this team, was to bring in a striker. That was the big need. We need a striker. I think everybody said pretty much that was the thing we needed. We needed to bring in a striker. Now, there was so much talk, wasn't there, in the media about Lorah Shankland. I think, on reflection, you look back on that, it was largely fan-driven. It was then media picked up on what the fans were saying. I don't think it was ever an option. I honestly don't think Lorah Shankland was ever truly an option to come to this team. That was never going to happen. I don't think he was even on Clement and Coppen's radar. I don't think he fits the system that Clement wants to play. I don't think he fits. I don't think as well that Rangers would want to pay the money for him. People talk about a flexible trading model, and I think in time it will be a flexible trading model. I do seriously think that will happen. However, we do at this moment in time have an awful lot of veteran players on the squad already. There is, a large number of those players that are over the age of 25, 26, 27, 28, over 30, that you could describe as being, veteran players. Tavernier, Goldson, for example, Lundstrom, players who, are likely or could well be here at the start of next season. So look, that is the situation we are in. So that's probably why, one of the two reasons I think why we didn't sign Lorah Shankland. Now, I think now that this transfer window has passed, that we will never, ever see Lorah Shankland in a Rangers jersey. I don't think that's ever going to happen now. I think that ship has sailed. The guy will be 29 at the start of next season. I don't see us spending a massive amount of money on him, even if he's available on a reduced transfer fee, because obviously he's coming to the end of his contract. I cannot see it being an option. I genuinely cannot see it happening. Now, decision was taken, obviously, at some level, whether it be board level or whether it be from Clement and Coppen. You've got to hope that it's come from Clement and Coppen rather than from the board, that we did not sign a striker in this transfer window. Now, some people argue that Fabio Silva is that striker that was signed, so that we have signed a striker. We signed Fabio Silva. The one point I would really raise about this is that Fabio Silva is not an out-and-out striker. He's more a support striker, a 10. I think can play out wide. I don't see him as a striker. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us only with Cyril Dessers as a striker. So basically, we are, I think, again, going a little bit eggs in one basket. People say, well, it was okay back, in the season we got to the Europa League final because we didn't have any fit strikers by the end of that season. Yeah, but we had Joe Aribo, we had Scotty Arfield, we had Fashion Sakala, all people who weighed in with goals. We haven't got the same amount of goals from midfield at this moment in time. We're not getting that return. Now, that could come from Diamande, although he's never really been a goal scorer. He's more been an assister. That's an assister, not a sister. Cortez, people could argue possibly that could happen. We don't know yet. We haven't seen it yet. Again, it's a gamble. The other thing I think a lot of people, there's 3 points actually to raise on the whole Cyril Dessers debate. Number one, people say, well, he's coming into form now, he's scoring goals, have faith, etc., etc. True, he is. He is scoring goals, but he's still missing a lot of chances. You look back across the last few games, Dumbarton, he misses 4 or 5 chances, at least 2 or 3 he should have taken. The Hibs game, he misses that one-on-one. Kilmarnock before the winter break, he misses a good couple of chances in that game. The Celtic game, let's not even talk about that because that was just embarrassing. But he misses a lot of chances. And you're putting your faith in someone who is one bad performance away, I think, from possibly dropping back into what he was. So there is a worry there for me with Dessers. Now, the other obviously concern is, what if he goes down injured? Then what? We've got Fabio Silva. Zach Lovelace may return. This guy's not back until March. Danilo, our 6 million Brazilian, is probably not going to be back again this season. So what does that leave us with? It leaves us with a huge gamble. It leaves us with Fabio Silva to play up front. As I said, he's not an out-and-out striker. It leaves us with Zach Lovelace, who, is he fit yet? Is he not fit yet? Is he part of Kamara? Is he part of Philippe Clement's plans? Is he not part of Clement's plans? Can he play that role? A lot of unanswered questions. Now, I've got no doubt in my mind that Zach Lovelace is an exceptionally talented footballer. He's quick, he's skillful. In the St Mirren game that he did play, he showed himself to be a very able footballer. But he hasn't done it on a consistent basis. Yes, that's because he hasn't been given the chance. I understand that. But it's a worry. It's a real worry. Now, you look at this situation as it presents itself. And number one, you look at this, Kamaru. Kamaru is not due back until March. So that means that we play until possibly to mid to late March without him. Now, and even when he comes back, I think he's proven over time that you can't depend on him. Yes, he is a very talented striker. Yes, he is a very good footballer, but he gets injured all the time. Zach Lovelace, like I've just found out, is a very young lad, and there is no guarantee that this young lad can score the goals that we need him to score. He's never had the opportunity. There's also stories and rumours about him wanting away, etc., etc. Fabio Silva, like I said, is not an out-and-out striker. He's not an out-and-out 9. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. Now, I do believe that he provides a whole new set of problems. I think he is very useful against the low block because he makes space for the midfield runners. But then on the other hand, like you say, do the midfield runners get the goals that we need them to get? Time will tell, I guess, on that one. As against the low block, I think he's a better option than Dessers because he makes those runs, he creates those gaps, he pulls defenders out for midfield runners to go in behind, which is something you do need against that low block. Then you turn to Dessers. Look, like I said, the guy has scored goals in the last couple of games, but you're putting a lot of faith in someone who has not consistently done it, someone who throughout this season has not consistently proven himself to be the man. And like I said, he still misses an awful lot of chances. It's a real worry. I look at that striking position and I really genuinely am concerned. And I really genuinely thought, and I hoped this morning when I woke up, that the rumours that I'd heard last night about Cortez being our last signing was not true. That it wasn't true that we were going to get a striker. But it turns out we're not going to get a striker. Well, we haven't got one. We haven't got one. Full stop. End of story. Done deals. It is finished. It is done and dusted. No striker is coming. We run now until the end of the season with what we've got. Now, I understand and I accept that it is difficult to sign players in January, and I accept that maybe that we couldn't put the wheels in motion and we couldn't get a striker. But that doesn't stop you from being concerned at the fact that we didn't get a striker. Now, you know, you listen to certain people comment on this situation and you hear comments like, you know, well, that shows that you don't trust Clement, you don't trust Coppen, you don't like that. No, it doesn't show that at all. I trust Philippe Clement to do the best job he can do with the players that he has. Will that be enough to win 56 this season? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. If we had gone out and got a proven striker, I'd be sitting here saying, yes, we will win this league this season. However, now I do not know. I genuinely don't know. Genuinely don't know. And that's not me being negative. That's, I think, a real genuine sense of feeling. Is this squad going to be good enough to overcome the hurdles it needs to win the league? Yes, I'm very excited about the signings of Diomande and Cortez, but I have not seen them play in Scottish football. I have not seen them play in front of 52,000 people at Ibrox. I have not seen them do it in a Rangers shirt as of yet. Now, in a month's time, we could be sitting here. We could have won every single game through February. Diomande and Cortez could be the best players in Scotland, etc., etc. And we could be saying, wow, we're on 56. And I accept that could happen. And I'm not saying it can't. At no point on this video am I saying we won't win the league, we can't win the league. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't know, because I'm not sure, because we have not signed a striker, a real reliable striker. Now, I also hear people saying, well, I heard someone last night on another podcast saying, well, it's because because people who are coming out and saying that we should have signed a striker, blah, 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 blah. We should have just got one. The board should have spent some money. They don't watch enough football. Absolute pish. Absolute pish. That person is talking utter bollocks. Look, at the end of the day, as Rangers fans, we all want this team to succeed. As Rangers fans, we want the best for this team. Now, this transfer window is one where I would say it is a B. A B. It's not an A. It's not an A minus. It's not a B plus. It's a B if I was grading it. Diomande, I think, will be a great signing. Hopefully, Cortez could be a great signing. Fabio Silva, I don't know. He could be a decent player, but he's not our player. So that's where we're at the moment. Now, I also accept that the summer transfer window is more key. We do need to use the summer to massively overhaul this squad. There is a lot that needs to go out. There is a lot that needs to be got rid of. That is a fact. That is a massive fact. And we'll talk in videos in due course, myself and Lorah, about players we need to stay, players we think should stay, and players we think should go. And obviously, you'll have your opportunity to give your opinions too. But where we stand today, it is a B for me, because I think, personally speaking, my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, please feel free to disagree in a constructive manner. We are in a position where it is a real concern going forward for the rest of the season, because we have not signed a real proven clinical number 9. We've had one at the start of the season, which Beale sold, which was Cholak. We have Dessers. That is it. That is genuinely it. You know, like I said, Roof is out till March. Danilo is out till the end of the season. Lovelace is a young lad who could score the goals. We don't know. Fabio Silva is not an out-and-out 9. Leaves us with Dessers. That's it. Now, if you're real confident that Dessers is going to score us the goals of Paris Tatal, brilliant. And I love you for your optimism. Personally speaking, not optimistic for that situation. Genuinely not optimistic. But I don't know. I genuinely do not know what the future holds at this moment in time. We will obviously bring you all the updates. We'll keep on all the stories. We'll build up now towards the Livy game. Now this transfer window is done, we will live stream with the Livy game with you. So please come and join us for that. Well, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below about this. The board, for me, have underwhelmed, I think is the right term. Underwhelmed. Yes, FFP is a concern. Yes, there is a financial obligation, etc., etc. But I think the board, what they've done in this window, is very underwhelming for our club. I think we've got a manager and a director of football who are general director of football recruitment who are very, very optimistic and very positive for this future of this club. I am not 100% sold on whether James Bisgrove and John Bennett are right for the future of this club. Well, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, guys, on the way out, if you could do me 2 favors. Number 1, smash the like. And number 2, remember always, we are